What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something a little bit different that I'm going to bring to the channel. I was over playing act number 5, the first couple of quests there, and I jumped over to YouTube to look at something real quick, and I saw MCOC Mod had posted this video on the full ability list and also gameplay for King Groot and Angela. And I was reading through them, and I was so excited that I wanted to make a video and try to explain some of their abilities. If you've watched any of my closer look videos, you know that I really enjoy, playing characters that have abilities that are outside the norm. Whether that be some sort of stacking ability or holding back ability to charge things. I just find them really interesting, and have always hoped that they would start to bring more of these characters into the game. And a couple of things I'm really excited for. One, the Cosmic class desperately needed more characters. I hope that they look at the Tech class next, but the Cosmic class needed more interesting characters, and they have definitely brought that with Groot and Angela. They're both very complex characters. If you do not do some reading or watching videos like this and getting a full understanding, you'll have no idea what's going on when you finally get your hands on these characters. So usually I kind of reserve these videos for some of the bigger YouTubers to put out, but to be honest, I just wanted to do it. So I don't know, maybe nobody will watch it, maybe Seaton's gonna put out something and everybody will watch that one, but to be totally honest, I don't care either way. I just wanted to put this video out and give my explanation and opinion on these characters. So I will leave down in the description a link to this video over on MCOC Mod. Make sure that you go over there and you watch the original video and you leave a thumbs up. Really want to give a shout out and thanks to him for bringing this content to the community for us to get our hands on before it actually hits the game. So what I want to do now is I'll go ahead and I'll play this video. I want to jump into his special abilities first. That is probably the portion of him that I would say is the most straightforward. He's very much an offensive based character plus a tank. There aren't really too many characters like this in the game right now. Typically, if you're a tanky character, you don't do a whole lot of damage. The only character I can think of that kind of has both of those going on is Hulk. But this version of Groot is nothing like the original version we had. He is very much an offensive-based character, has a lot of regen abilities to him. So really excited to be able to kind of go through this here with you now. So Floral Ferocity is his special one. Very straightforward. When you fire it off, there's a 90% chance you're going to get an armor break. Nothing more to it really than that. His special attack 2, whenever you use it, has a 100% chance to poison your enemy, internal toxicity. But you're gonna consume a Fury effect. If you have one active, you're gonna consume it, and it's gonna put one additional poison effect on the enemy. So if you're running with 2 Fury effects and you use your special 2, it's gonna consume one of those, but you're gonna put 2 poison effects on the enemy, which I think is a really cool characteristic. He's got a lot, and I'll get into it further here, but he's really built around his Fury, building up Fury stacks and being able to consume them when you would like to cause different effects, which I think is really cool. His special attack 3, Savagery Unleashed, again has a portion of it that is affected if you have a Fury or not. If you use the special 3 with no active Fury, you can see there it's going to do damage, plus you have a baseline kind of regen that you're going to get over 3 seconds. But if you have a Fury buff active, it's going to consume one of those, and it's going to increase the duration of the regen by 50%, which is actually pretty good. What would that be? About 4.5 seconds is what it's going to push it out to. And you'll see once we get into the gameplay, that's a very strong regen. So let me go ahead and play this and try to skip forward into his awakened ability and passives. So before I get into his signature ability, I want to go ahead and scroll down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So in order to understand King Groot, you have to understand this Fury cycle that he goes through. When you start the fight, you automatically have 2 Fury stacks, and those Fury stacks can be used for one of 2 things. They will either shrug off debuffs that you receive in half a second. So if I get attacked, let's say I start the fight and I get attacked by X23 and they put a bleed on me, it is going to consume one of my Fury charges, and it is going to shrug off that debuff. The second thing that I can do during those 12 seconds is I can use that Fury for boosting the poison on my special 2 or increasing the regen of my special 3. And then at the end of 12 seconds, if I have not used all of my Fury buffs, they are automatically going to drop off, and I'm going to go into a cooldown phase for 16 seconds. And if you're not awakened, what you can do during this cooldown stage for 16 seconds is each attack that you do and each attack that you receive, which it looks like it may even be block damage that you're receiving, for each one of those attacks, there's a 9% chance that that is going to be converted into a Fury charge. And it looks like a regular Fury buff, but instead of being kind of like a brown color, it's like a silvery white grayish color. And you're keeping all of those for the full 16 seconds. You're adding all those up, and at the end of the 16 seconds, it applies those to the additional 2 Fury effects that you would already be getting for 12 seconds. So let's just say, for example's sake, for my 16-second cooldown, I'm able to get 2 Fury charges. When the end of the 16 seconds is over, I'm automatically going to get 2 Fury attacks, plus I'm going to add my 2 Fury charges that I built up, so I'm going to have a total of 4 Fury buffs for 12 seconds. And again, I can use those to shrug off debuffs, or I can use those to increase my special attack 2 and special attack 3. So that is what you would be using, or excuse me, that is the cycle when you are not awakened. Now let me go back here. When you are awakened, let me go back up just a little bit. Unyielding Might is his signature ability. So what this is basically a regeneration that is automatically given to you each time that you go into your cooldown phase. So each time the 12-second phase is up or you run out of Fury buffs, for that 16-second cooldown, you're going to be getting a regen the entire time, which is really, really cool. I have always been a big fan of giving characters the ability to passively regen, or to have some sort of small regen that they can get, because it just makes the utility for characters go absolutely through the roof. So I think he's going to be a really, really strong character. He's got this 16-second cooldown window that he regens, which you can stack that on top of a special attack 3. So he's going to be a really, really strong utility character. So now with all of that in mind, which I know that there was a lot of information, I want to jump over into the actual gameplay and talk through everything that we've just seen here. Okay, now before we actually jump into the gameplay, let me point out what you should be looking for. At the beginning of the fight, you're going to automatically get 2 Fury buffs, and those are going to last at least 12 seconds, or until you shrug off debuff abilities. So we're looking for the 2 Fury stacks to pop up right away, which let's go ahead and play it. You'll see those come up here. There's the 2 Fury stacks that you get automatically at the beginning of each fight, which really you're not going to be able to get to your special attack 2 quick enough at the beginning of a fight to consume one of those. So more than likely this is going to last the full 12 seconds unless you get hit and need to shrug off a debuff. So let's go ahead and play it. I don't believe he receives any debuffs, so it does go for the full 12 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right here. So what we're looking for now is, what you'll see is as soon as the 12 seconds is up, you're going to go into the cooldown state. And because that this King Groot is awakened, you've got that cellular regeneration that lasts for the full 16 seconds. So go ahead and play it. And there it is right there. So the other thing that you can do now while you're in this cooldown state until you get your Fury attacks back is, again, each attack that you do and each attack that you receive, there's a 9% chance that you're going to stack a Fury charge. And I believe this heavy attack that he does right here, yep, you'll see it right there. The heavy attack that he did, it procced one of those Fury buff stacks. It's that Fury symbol with the silver gray right there. So that does not do anything for you until the 16 seconds is up. And then at the end of the 16 seconds, he gets his 2 Fury charges back, and then he's going to add that Fury stack on top of that to get him to 3. So that regeneration, that is no joke. I realize it's a fully maxed out 5-star, but that's a lot of regeneration you're getting back. So you can see it there. We went back into our Fury state with 2 buffs, and we added the 3rd that we built up during the cooldown state. Now, this part of the fight I found fairly interesting. So he does his special attack 2, and he has Fury buffs active at the beginning when he when he uses it. So I'm expecting there to be two poison stacks, like it's gonna consume one of those. But the actual animation of the special attack 2 for the poison does not happen until the fury buffs fall off, which I found really interesting. So what you'll notice is, we'll go ahead and let this thing play off. You'll see there that they fell off just before he started this attack. So you're gonna poison, which is a 100% chance for the special 2 to poison, but you're not actually gonna get that additional poison effect unless the fury attack, the buff is active during the actual animation when you're poisoning. Which I don't know, I would have thought that if you had a fury buff active when you use your special 2, that would be good enough, but that was really something I found interesting that I wanted to point out. So we've got 1 fury stack, we've got 2 fury stacks, so that means as soon as we finish up our cooldown, we're going to come back with 4 furies, and there it is right there. Which, unfortunately, Angela doesn't really put any debuffs on you necessarily to be able to see the shrug off ability, but that would be fairly straightforward. And I probably, if I can get enough time today or tomorrow, will also put out a video on Angela as well. So right here, you'll notice that we did go ahead and we used our special attack 3, and we had 4 fury buffs active. So what you'll notice is when we finish our special attack 3 here, it is going to have consumed one of those. So we're actually going to be down at 3 stacks of fury, and our regeneration is going to go from 3 seconds to 4.5 seconds. The other thing that I want to point out right before it happens is, so I have my regeneration going from my special attack 3, and my fury buff is about to fall off, so I'm about to go into a cooldown state. And you'll notice that the cooldown, let me pause it, there it is. The regen that you get from your cooldown state does stack on top of your special attack 3, which I found really, really interesting. The other thing here that I want to point out that I did confirm is you can see that we are blocking the attack that is incoming from Angela, but even though it is not direct damage, that still counts as a fury. There's still a 9% chance to stack a fury, and that's exactly what happens right there. So that's actually really positive. I thought that only direct damage would be able to stack that. So that means when you're pairing, there's going to be an opportunity for you to stack your furies as well. So that's going to come down to the end of the fight. Let me pause it here. I can't lie. That was, I don't know the last time that I was so excited for a character. He looks really, really interesting to me. I can't wait to get my hands on him. I know that I probably shouldn't go for featured crystals with him, but I don't know. I may have to buy a couple because obviously I can't put up the type of numbers that it requires to get a top 800 in the featured champs. I just don't have the amount of time. But I cannot wait to get my hands on this character. I hope that brings some clarity to the character King Groot himself. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Basically, I've got as much information as anybody else does at this point. But I wanted to kind of, I don't know, just walk through his abilities and hopefully answer some questions that you guys had from the get-go. Do make sure, like I said, down in the description below will be the link to this video. Make sure you go over and give a thumbs up to MCOC Mod for putting this video out early for us. Alright guys, until the next one, have a great day.